Ladies and gentlemen, we are back here with the Dual Threat Podcast. The divisional round is officially in the books. Griff, how's it going, my man?
It's going great. The divisional round, I'm not going to lie. I mean, the playoffs, we'll get to it in a second on how, like, what the teams, who we've gotten to the AFC, NFC Championship games. But the games themselves, really good.
Yeah.
The NFL playoffs, they really, really good games, and the divisional games did not disappoint. There was some great games this weekend.
Yeah, there were some great games. There was some controversy. There was some spankings. There was kind of a good blend of everything. And we were talking about this last week on the show. I wish the Buffalo-Denver game would have been on Sunday Night Football. I feel like that would have been a perfect way to end off the weekend. And it started off on a crazy bang. There was a lot of controversy, obviously, with that last play, and we'll get into all that. But let's dive right into the game. Josh Allen.
Let's start with the spanking, because I feel like the spanking is, we're not going to talk a lot about the spanking. I mean, you guys already know it.
You got to keep them on the edge of their
seat.
Yeah, you
got to keep them on the edge of their seat. I mean, the San Francisco 49ers, they were just depleted to all ends, and they ran into a buzzsaw.
Yeah.
Mid-year trading for Shaheed might be the move of the year for the Seattle Seahawks, because when they traded him, I thought that he was going to be a massive deep threat for him. I thought, you know what, the deep threat is going to open up. JSN is going to absolutely cook. But if you see Shaheed on offensively, he doesn't really do that much like offensively. But the kick returns, the punt returns have been absolutely phenomenal. And to start off the game, like I said, the Seahawks opened up a can of whoop ass. They scored the touchdown. They never looked back. The 49ers, hell of a season. Injuries just caught up to you. The Seattle Seahawks, though, they are El Fuego hot right now, and they're hitting on all fumes. Charbonnet, right? He
out for the season.
Out for the season. That does suck. That does suck. But that defense for the Seattle Seahawks, best remaining defense in the playoffs. Best remaining defense in the playoffs. They just beat the brakes off of the San Francisco 49ers, and it finally looked like the 49ers, the injuries just caught up to them. You know what I mean, Caden? It just finally was like, you know what? It just happens. It just happens. And Seattle on their way to the NFC Championship game. What'd you see?
I think this was the ultimate kick in the pants right from the beginning. First play, he takes the kickoff for a touchdown, and I'm like, okay, I think the 49ers are probably just going to get curb stomped here. And then you have the ridiculous fourth down where they call that timeout late. They would have gotten the first down there. And I was already like, okay, here we go.
And then Shanahan runs like a speed.
That was dumb.
Fullback.
I knew what he was doing right away.
And I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I knew what he was doing right away. I was like,
because even if he pitched it, he wouldn't have. Like, even if Juszczyk pitched it to the CMC,
I was like, hopefully Juszczyk just maybe throws it to someone like down the field. Hopefully somebody's leaking down there, but nobody was leaking down there. It gets blown up. And then you have the Tonjes fumble, and before you know it, you're looking at a 17-0 deficit in the first quarter. And I was like, well, 49ers, it's been a great season. And the injuries, unfortunately, did catch up with you. I think looking back at this year, Griff, I would say if you told me at the beginning of the season with every single injury that happened for the 49ers, I would have said they're going to be lucky to win 7 games. They're going to be lucky to win that many games. And I look at this as a successful season. Hey, you're in the toughest division in football. The two other teams that you were successful against this year, you went into Seattle and beat Seattle.
One of them's going to the bowl.
Exactly.
For sure.
You beat the Rams with Mac Jones. Like, you're not that far away, in my opinion. And I know everybody's like, can they run it back? Because it is hard. Once you get to that pinnacle, once you get to the Super Bowl, the NFC Championships, it's always like a lonely feeling. Can you get back to that point? I feel like the Niners had a wildly successful season. And to your point about Seattle, man, I mean, they are unbelievable in all 3 phases of the game. Rashid Shaheed was like that Lamborghini in that like Bad House meme for a while with New Orleans, and he comes over to Seattle, and it's just a few plays. That's all you need from the guy. And I think that's what makes him that much more dangerous, where it's like you aren't seeing him every single play be this JSN type guy or this like elite speedster. It's just a few plays. That's where he gets you, and he completely flips the tide. And that's why this Seattle team's been so great on special teams. And you have Jason Myers, who can hit a 60-yarder at any given point. And I just think the Seattle team, to your point, the Charbonnet loss is big, but Kenneth Walker, 3 touchdowns in that game. He's an awesome running back. This team's got depth. They've got players everywhere, and I cannot wait for this game against LA. Anything else we need to cover in this one?
The spanking was out. Congratulations to Seattle Seahawks. You've earned the home field advantage. You've earned the 1 seed. You got it done.
And they played into their last thing here. They played into that Super Bowl recipe. It's like run the football at a high level, let the defense take control, get Darnold in the play action. I think Darnold threw the ball 17 times and had 12 completions, and they won, 41-6? Like, that's the Super Bowl recipe. And I know it's easy to just sit here and say it, but they're doing it to so many different teams, and that's why the Seattle team is so deadly. Here they are, 2 games away from hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. Now we'll dive into the game that should have been on Sunday Night Football, in my opinion. A lot of controversy around this one. Ultimately, when I came away from this game, I said, although I feel like the Zebras played a lot into the very end of it because of the pass interferences and the swallowing their whistle for most of the game, you can't have 4 turnovers from your quarterback. You can't. And I love Josh Allen. Think he's a great player. But I go back to last year when I was critical of Lamar Jackson when he had those 2 turnovers against Buffalo. You can look back to those big plays that swing the games, and you're like, okay, that play where he's holding the football out like a meatball sandwich, it gets stripped, that's 3 points. Could be a completely different game. He had 4 turnovers. I understand, one of them was that one to Cooks that me and you kind of disagree about it. And one, he just got blindside, blew up, and you'd like to see him hold on to the football, but to be fair, he got crushed. But still, you're looking at 2 turnovers there that completely swung the tide of this game. The Bills lose. They fire Sean McDermott.
I was surprised about the firing. I know we're starting with the firing and not about the game, at least on my side. I was surprised because you sit there and say, like, okay, he's been there for 8 seasons. You were dog water before he got there. He turned you guys in. I get it. They weren't Super Bowl champions. But I mean, out of the 8 years, how many times did they win the division? 6?
Yeah.
Maybe even 7.
A lot of times.
Maybe even 7 they won that, John. And to just kick him to the curb with no one out there who's really like, there's no Ben Johnsons. There's no Mike Vrabels out there who's like, dude,
Harbaugh's gone.
And Harbaugh's gone.
Yeah.
Now, man, Harbaugh, if he just waited one more week, he would definitely been a Bill. He definitely would have coached for the Bills. So that was a weird move on their part. Now, talking about Josh Allen, I couldn't agree more with you. You just can't have those turnovers. And you look in the game, Cook, he turned the ball over. In that game, that specific game, he turned that ball over. They were going down to make it 14-3, I believe. It was early in the game.
And they were in the red zone.
And they were in the red zone.
Yeah.
They make it 14-3. You think Josh Allen's going to blow a 14-3 lead? Hell no. Absolutely hell no. And then the Broncos go down and score a touchdown, I believe, or they minimum got a field goal. The turnovers killed the Buffalo Bills. Now, to go to the Cooks reception, I thought it was an interception live when I was watching it live, but then, and I understand why the refs called it interception because they can't see bang plays, but then once they started reviewing it and they clipped it, I was like, okay, I think that's an actual catch.
That back angle.
The back angle.
Was
you know
the
what I mean?
most obvious one.
You see he has possession. You see his knee down. To me, no one knows what a catch is in the NFL. Remember a couple years ago when I think it was Freiermuth for the Steelers, like he caught the ball in the end zone against the Patriots and then he hit the ground. It might not have been Freiermuth.
That was Jeff Heath.
Okay.
That was like Brady versus Roethlisberger. That was a while ago.
And that would have won them the game. And then they called it back, no touchdown. So I'm like, dude, no one knows what a catch is in today's world. But you can go back and say, Josh Allen, you scored 30 points on this defense with 5 turnovers. Yeah. If they would have not turned the ball over 5 times, what are they scoring? 60, Caden? Yeah. I mean, that is and then you look, did you see the Knox throw?
Yes, I did.
Before the overtime. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not demanding he makes this throw. I'm not demanding, but I mean, you got to make that throw.
I agree.
You got to make that throw because that was a touchdown.
Yeah,
Knox catches that ball. He was rolling into the end zone. That's the game.
I think it was more of like he was sitting in the pocket for a long time and he didn't want to take that sack and make it even a further field goal because Prater's 80 years old. And
then you go into overtime. You get the ball. You get the stop. The Broncos punt it to you. You get the ball on the 7-yard line. A lot of people were like telling me in my comments like, oh, they got the ball on the 7-yard line. What do you expect? Okay, well, they got a first down and then they got another first down.
I expect Josh Allen to go win the game. He's Josh Allen.
First and 10 on the 30-yard line. Yep. That's what they had. First and 10 after converting some crazy third downs, 3rd and 5 and 3rd and 7. You had the ball on the 30-yard line. All you had to do is get a field goal. And Bills fans, I feel for you. Every year you get your heart stripped out. Every year you get your heart stripped out and stomped on. And it just sucks. It just absolutely sucks. I do want to pivot. Who has it worse? Who woke up on, because the game was on Saturday, right? Mm-hmm. Who woke up on Sunday morning more in piss? Broncos fans or Bills fans? Because Bills lost the games.
Gotta be.
But the Broncos lost their starting quarterback in Bo Nix. The reason why I think it's the Broncos, because I think it's the Broncos, because the hopes are gone. The hopes for the Super Bowl, in my opinion.
But at least you won.
But you won. But at what cost? The Bills are used to this. But the Bills are used to heartbreak. The Bills are used to this
but how much work
feeling.
Can they take?
The Bills are used to this feeling. The Broncos, they haven't been there for 10 years. And I'm telling you right now, Bo Nix healthy, I'm telling you, they could have won the Super Bowl. They could have won.
That's
In
fair.
my opinion, I think they could. I think they would have beat New England.
I agree.
I still think they have a chance against New England. We'll get that later on in this video. But then they would have a shot in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Now it's like, okay, let's say you sneak a win against the Patriots. You're not beating Seattle.
No.
You're not beating.
We looked at the hypothetical lines.
The hypothetical lines.
8.5 point underdog.
8.5 point. You're not beating them. So I think the Broncos fans almost woke up in a little bit more of piss because, like I said, the Bills fans, they're used to this heartbreak. The Broncos, they're like, dude, we've been waiting all 10 years for this, and we're right on the cusp. Yeah. We're right on the cusp. We have the number 1 seed. We're playing the New England Patriots at our home, and then we get to go to the Super Bowl. I don't know. That's just gut-wrenching for the Bills. And then 15 minutes later, gut-wrenching for the Denver Broncos, losing Bo Nix to a broken ankle. That never happens. No, that never happens. It was an up and down game. Josh Allen, you can't have those turnovers. Broncos fans, my heart goes out to you because losing your starting quarterback like that is devastating.
Yeah, it is. I would say it's Buffalo because they've had the most egregious and heartbreaking losses in the Super Bowl. They've never won a Super Bowl. The Broncos have won a Super Bowl. They feel like they got robbed in that game, and that's how I genuinely feel about it too. I understand. I don't know if you watched every single play and we're like, okay, that was kind of like a pass interference on that Brandon Cooks one on that final drive where
I watched every single play, and to your point before when you said the whole game the refs swallowed their whistles, I literally before the overtime said, I was like, dude, these refs are letting these guys play.
And I was okay with that.
I was okay.
Think that's how it
I was
should be.
perfectly okay with that. And that Cooks one was defensive pass interference on the Broncos for
100%, but
sure.
I was like, I don't want to see a flag come out and end the game. As somebody that
100%.
wanted Buffalo to win, I picked them to win, and I was like, okay, that's okay. I don't want to see a ticky, you can call it ticky-tack. I don't want to see a ticky-tack flag ruin a great game that's probably going to go to overtime. I don't want to see that. But then you have to have the double standard. You have to have the consistency. If you're not going to call that, you can't call it twice, not once, but twice in overtime that resulted in 53 pass interference yards that slammed the door shut.
It was over
for Denver to win the game and just ripped Buffalo's heart out even more after making one of the most, in my opinion, egregious interception calls in a long time. And I understand why people debate about it, where it's like, well, you've got to survive the ground. There was an angle that came out yesterday from NFL Films that shows everything crystal clear. Brandon Cooks, 2 hands on the football. He's rolling to the ground. What's his name? McLaughlin or what's the guy's?
The corner or something like that.
I said his name wrong earlier, and people are like, bro doesn't even know his name, so he doesn't even know that. It's like McLaughlin or some crap like that. But he only had 1 hand on the football, and they're rolling over. Brandon Cook's knee goes down, still 2 hands on the football. The football's not moving. Then they both roll over, and the guy rips it away from him when he's down, and I was like, why are we not even going to review this? Why are we not going to take a longer look at this? This is way too quick, way too bang, bang. And everybody's sitting here because my comments got loud. Everyone's calling me stupid. Listen, this is a subjective thing. I'm going from what I've seen in the past, to your point with the Heath catch, or last year, Xavier Worthy had like one of those similar catches against the Bills, or Devontae Adams in that Bears game. Like there was a lot of bang, bang plays, and Richard Sherman said it best. The 50-50 tie goes to the runner stuff. That goes to the receiver 9.9 times out of 10. And because it's the Buffalo Bills, it went against them. This was an egregious call, in my opinion. And they would have won the game. They would have been at the 20-yard line.
They just needed a field
Prater
goal.
hits a chip shot, and they win the game. I was stunned. I was mad that they didn't even take a look at it, in my opinion. I wanted some more definitive evidence. But you know what? Here we are on Wednesday recording this, and I'm still just as mad as I was on Saturday night. I don't know how Buffalo fans are going to live this down. Absolutely egregious. And they fire Sean McDermott. I completely disagree with it. Somebody, I can't remember who said it, but it was somebody on Twitter, did a great job, and they were like, you're going to fire the head chef when he's been getting crappy ingredients from
that's a good point
from the staff the last few
GMs,
years.
yeah.
It's like, besides Josh Allen, they've only drafted 2 Pro Bowlers. It's been James Cook and I want to say Dalton Kincaid or something.
Yeah.
Like they've only drafted 2 Pro Bowlers that I saw, and I'm like, what do you expect the guy to do? How do you expect the guy to win? Look at it. Look at the defense. The defense has been ravaged with injuries over the last few years, even when they're playing Mahomes, and they've been right there on the doorstep of winning. The receiving core was annihilated this year. I don't know how you're going to blame Sean McDermott. And to your point, there's no slam dunk hires. Who do you trust with Josh Allen's career right now?
Well, now, like as we sit today, Salah's gone.
Halfley's gone. McDaniel's gone.
A lot of these guys are gone, and you're sitting there like, who the hell are these dudes going to hire? Because I mean, Buffalo, because you have a window right now with Josh Allen.
Yeah.
You have to hire someone good. I don't know. I totally agree.
Stefanski's gone too. Like, those are the top two guys.
I mean,
Harbaugh,
are they going to go get
Stefanski.
Cliff Kingsbury? I just don't know who the Bills are going to hire right now, unless they have some home run college football.
I don't think you can say that, because, like, what would you rather have? Like, I think you have to look at it from this lens. Like, I get it. It sucks losing in this spot every single time, but who do you trust with Josh Allen's career? Josh Allen, I think we can all admit, he's the most talented football player on the planet, without a doubt. I think Patrick Mahomes is right there, but I think in terms of pure talent, you strip everything else away. Like, yeah, Mahomes got the clutchness, he's got the winning and all that. In terms of pure talent, Josh Allen, with what he can do, is the most talented player I've ever seen play football in my entire life. Who do you trust? Do you trust a random guy that has never been a head coach before? Or do you trust Sean McDermott, who's been there before? And yes, you've never won the Super Bowl, but you're still there. And he still loves him.
You're winning the division. I mean, this was the first time in 6 years that they haven't won the division.
Yeah.
The Patriots won it. And like you said, what are you going to bring in a new coach and give him 2 or 3 years to rebuild? No, you need to win now. Josh Allen's 30 years old. Josh Allen's not going to be in his prime forever. Who knows if he plays to 45 or something like that. But no, I totally disagree with the Buffalo Bills firing that guy. Absolutely bozo activity right there.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's similar to the Ravens, where I'm like, who do you trust with Lamar Jackson? But I can see more of an argument to get rid of John Harbaugh because of the fact that you haven't had the playoff success that Buffalo has, although it's been pretty relative.
Yeah,
I do think that Buffalo's been right there and has had their heart snatched out a lot more, whether it was who was the guy that missed the field goal like 2 years ago for the Bills?
Against the
blanking on his name.
Yeah. I know. It's not. Yeah, no. I know exactly what you're talking about. He
misses a kick, the 9-second rule. Like, they've been right there. Whereas, like, the Ravens, Lamar has those bad turnovers when they played in the AFC Championship. Like, it's different, and I understand you're still all losing to the same guy, but it felt like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like, Harbaugh's not out there. You don't have Ben Johnson. You don't have this guy that's just a slam dunk. And for them to have this job open, it's like, you expect the Bills to be a Super Bowl contender next year. Do you think with a year one head coach that you're going to go be a Super Bowl contender?
No, I don't.
It's very rare.
Yeah, it's unless you brought in a Bill Belichick or a Harbaugh or one of those guys. But like you said, now you're going to hire a new guy. You're going to hire a Cliff Kingsbury.
I don't even think I'd want Bill Belichick.
I don't know what the Bills were thinking. I have no idea what the Bills were thinking on that move.
It seems like, and we talked about this after the Packers game, but it seems like they should have did what the Packers did, where it was like, hey, let's take a few days. Let's take a step back. Let's not get overly emotional here. Let's look at every move on the chessboard. And I think seemingly they made the worst move on the board. I don't know what they're going to do right now. But man, the last 2 MVPs right now don't have a head coach. That is crazy.
Yep.
And both of them have had Super Bowl expectations over the last 5 years. The Ravens have been a Super Bowl contender over the last 5 years. The Bills have been a Super Bowl contender over the last 5 years. And now for both of them to not have a head coach, it seems like, I mean, if you would have told me at the beginning of the year, no Mike Tomlin, no John Harbaugh, no Sean McDermott, I would have said, I mean, are we watching the same NFL?
Yeah,
are we in a paradox here?
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on, but craziness ensuing afterwards. Texans Patriots on Sunday, another just turnover bloodbath. Me and you both had the Texans. This one stings.
You go first on this one, because I'm gonna respectfully roast some people, and you are too. Don't get me wrong, but I'm going to respectfully, disrespectfully roast some people. So you go first on this one.
Okay. So with that in mind, and with that in mind, I'm gonna take it a little easier then. So I'll let Griff be
good
the bad
cop,
guy.
bad cop.
Exactly.
Good cop, bad cop.
I'll let Griff be the bad guy. I've talked about this all year long with the Texans, where I'm like, I think we need to take a serious look at this offense, because it's not all on CJ Stroud. Now, this game, 4 turnovers in the wild card round. He didn't play good. But Griff, they kept going back to this same naked bootleg play where they'd roll out with CJ Stroud. They had no one to protect him. The tight end trips and falls. He gets blown up. On the other one, he's rolling to his offhand, makes a bad throw, bad interception. I think there were multiple times where I was like, what is this offensive play caller doing? And it's been like that all year long. The play calling has not been good all year long. I talked about that in week 3 when they were 0-3. Stroud's out his top 2 pass catchers. I think he was trying to be desperate. No Nico Collins, no Dalton Schultz. He's trying to make plays happen. You can't do that with how good that defense is. So I'm not absolving him of that. And I'm not absolving him of this entire performance, but I'm trying to look at the whole Texans offense here and see why these problems were there, because I feel like the writing's been on the wall the whole time with this Texans offense. The offensive line played bad. They couldn't run the football. They were barely getting over 2 yards a carry. I feel like this offense is in such a bad spot right now, especially when you lose those 2 pass catchers. It's like, man, CJ Stroud, and he's got to take that next step. I will say, like, it's year 3. You expected him to take that next step. I was really disappointed with this performance because I felt like this was a generational defense, and I don't even feel like it. It is a generational defense. It's so unbelievably good. The fact that they were down 5 points heading into the fourth quarter with 5 turnovers speaks volumes about how good that defense is. Will Anderson Jr., absolute monster. Hopefully they can run it back, because I was also thinking about this too. You just don't know how long you're going to get a good, healthy defense for. And especially one that's young. Like, these guys are going to start getting a little older, and they're going to get big-time contracts. Like this Jalen Petrie, man, he's must-see TV. He's going to get a lot of money. But super disappointing. Stroud, 4 turnovers. Where do you go from here?
Good cop, bad cop. CJ Stroud needs to be off the Houston Texans roster.
Really?
I'm the Houston Texans GM. The day after, CJ Stroud, you're working at Del Taco tomorrow. You're flipping, you're making Whoppers. You're making Whoppers at Burger King the next day. With that defense, what they wasted was generational. I can't, and I'm going to get into Miko Ryans in a second, but CJ Stroud, did you see that stat, Caden, where it said if he spiked the ball, he'd have a better QBR? Yeah. If he spiked the ball every single play, he would have a better QBR. And if you go back into the game, if he spiked the ball every single time, I think they would have won the game, because the Patriots, where they have 5 turnovers, that pick 6 was devastating. At that point in the game, it was 10-7. The Patriots got the ball after that. They went 3 and out, punted it back to the Texans. I'm like, oh my gosh, 10-7. If the Texans can go down, maybe get a field goal, build a lead, that defense will win you the game. What does CJ Stroud do? Throws a pick 6. And it was a bad pick 6. It wasn't like it was like, oh man, the guy tipped it up. It was a bad pick 6. CJ Stroud, you're off the team. What I would do as the GM, I'd say, CJ Stroud, hit the bricks. We're going to cut you. We're going to use all of that money that we would use on you in the next year. We're going to go to that defense and go to every single one of them and say, listen, we'll give you a pay raise. We need every one of you back. We need every one of you back, Caden, because with that defense, you could have a churros guy from the stands play quarterback. You could have Davis Mills. I was on Twitter, and I'm getting emotional on this because I am so sad for that Texans defense. I'm sad for you Texans fans, because what CJ Stroud and DeMeco Ryans did to you was shameful. What DeMeco Ryans should have benched CJ Stroud after halftime.
Really?
And after the halftime, he said he got on the comms and he was like, oh, I thought he could play better, and he did play better. Your season's on the line. This isn't a regular season game. You have a guy who has no heart right now. You can't look at me and tell me that CJ Stroud had any ounce of confidence in those eyes.
No,
in that halftime.
It was so bad.
He was, and I get it. No Brown, no Nico Collins, all those guys. But at one point, I'm going to flame you, offensive coordinator as well. I don't even know your name. At what point do you just run the ball?
Yeah.
At what point do you run the ball, go 3 and out, and punt the ball and say, you know what, defense, get turnovers? Because you did. You got turnovers on Drake May. There was so many opportunities in that game. And then finally, late in the game, Stingley gave up that touchdown to Booty, which was, it was good coverage. It was just a better throw and a better catch. I don't even think
you can say gave it up. Like, it was just that good.
But it was at one point the Texans defense was like, okay, at some point, you're going to show a little cracks.
Yeah,
you're going to show some cracks in the armor.
The dam's going to burst.
The dam is going to burst, and it kind of did late because the defense feeds off the offense, and the offense feeds off the defense. CJ Stroud, I would not want, if I was a Texans fan, I would want you off my team. I would want you off my team because, like you said, he's up for a contract win.
2 years.
So 2 years. I don't know. He's taking money from the defense.
The 5th-year extension's not cheap also.
Yeah, and Will Anderson Jr. is the franchise right now. Will Anderson Jr. is so your franchise. If it comes down to him or CJ Stroud and they pick CJ Stroud, you should riot, Texans fans, in these streets. I know that would never happen. I know that would never happen. And I know I'm going on a long tangent rant right here. But if you put Davis Mills in there and tell him to not turn the ball over, I think the Texans are going to the AFC Championship game. And possibly now with the Bo Nix thing, you sit there and say, okay, we could have won to the Super Bowl. And then in the Super Bowl with that defense, you could have won it. I know we're in the what if game, but I'm just so frustrated because you made the mistakes the week before against the Steelers. Okay, you made the mistakes. Someone had to have gotten to CJ Stroud's ear and say, listen, dude, don't turn the ball over. And we're going to win the game. Okay. You turn the ball over once, sit you down and say, listen, don't make those throws. Just protect the ball. Even if you have to take a sack, that's okay. He did it 3 more times.
Well, and it felt like it was coming too, because on those first few drives, like there was a lot of tips and overthrows where you're clenching your cheeks after. You're like, oh my goodness, it's coming.
And then coming out of the halftime, it was 21 to 10. The Texans had the ball. Actually, a pretty drive. They were driving down a pretty drive. Got to the Patriots 10-yard line. I was like, dude, they punch us in 21-17. We got a game. They settle for a field goal. Then they get the ball back. And they're driving. It's 21-13. I'm like, okay, dude, it's minimum going to be 21-16. Woody Marks fumbles. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just heated because I had some dough on the Texans. But to look at that defense in the eyes and after the game and say, listen, all we had to do was spike the ball every single time and we would be in the Super Bowl. Yeah. Like, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going a little ham on CJ Stroud.
No, it's funny.
And CJ Stroud, what sucks too is like he was so good his rookie year. So good his rookie year. Decreased next year. Decreased the year after that. It's just tough right now. For a Texans fan, this is going to go down as the what if year. This is going to go down in 10 years from now because you never know what you have until it's gone.
Yeah,
next year, what if one of the guys gets hurt for defensive side?
Will Anderson. I mean, any of those guys.
Yeah, what if any of those guys?
You don't know if you're going to be able to bring back all of them.
Hell no.
Free agency.
What if those guys go off and have excellent careers somewhere else? I don't know. You just sit there and say, I am off the CJ Stroud. I was hanging by a thread, Caden. I was hanging by a thread. That Steelers game almost broke the straw. But I was like, okay, you know what? All you got to do is not turn the ball over, and you could go to the Super Bowl. And he turned the ball over 3 or 4 times. I know that one interception wasn't his fault because it was off the guy's hands. Yeah. But I'm just devastated for Texans fans. Texans fans, you should be devastated.
Yeah, I am
Long
too.
rant right there. It was
a good one. I warranted for sure. And I feel like that's you just embodied what the Houston Texans fans are feeling right now. I was frustrated watching the game. I don't really know what you do if you're the Texans because I feel like on one hand it's like CJ Stroud still is an uberly talented quarterback, and you saw what he did his rookie year. And the offensive line has not been, he's the most sacked quarterback in the NFL since he was drafted. And so I feel like you've got to really invest a lot of money into that offensive line if Stroud's still your guy. And I think this is a big year where it's like, hey, if Stroud still struggles, I think you go down the route. And this is a big what if, and you still have got to see what he does for another year. But like, what if you go down the Malik Willis path or the Mac Jones path, where it's like you get a solid quarterback who
you tell me right now, Malik Willis
Darnold
on that team. What would they have done?
I think they go to the Super Bowl if not win it. That defense is that good. It's that good.
That's crazy to say.
It's that good.
That's crazy to say. CJ Stroud, 2nd overall pick. Now, in your opinion, what does CJ Stroud have to do next year to earn the okay, we're going to roll with you long term? What do you think he has to do?
I just think it can't just be on Stroud. It's not all on Stroud. And that's what it's been all year long, where it's like, and I said this week 3, I said this exact same thing. They couldn't run the football. The running game was not great this year. They did a good job against the Steelers, but throughout the entirety of the year, they could not run the football. The offensive line was not good. The receivers, Nico Collins was injured for a solid chunk of the season. He was injured for last year as well. And getting Tank Dell back next year is going to be big for them as well, in my opinion. But, you had a lot of young receivers, that Noel, that Hutchinson. Like, the receiving core was very up and down. Play calling was horrible. I don't think things are working in CJ Stroud's favor, so I think you need to shift some things up. Fire the offensive coordinator, whatever his name is. You need a new play caller. You need a better offensive line. That's going to help you run the football. I do believe in Woody Marks, and you've got to hope that receiving core can stay healthy with Dell, with Hutchinson, and with Collins. I think they've got a solid 3 there. They've just got to stay healthy, but you just feel like this team can take that new Super Bowl step next year if they're healthy and if Stroud can actually trust his eyes. And that's a big what if.
It is. Can you hit it right on the head? With Malik Willis or mac and cheese, they would have won the Super Bowl.
I agree.
That's crazy.
Or at least they would have been there with a
and
good
that's no
shot.
knock on those two. That's no knock on those two players. But I'm just saying, like,
Malik Willis looked really good this year.
Yeah,
I think he's a starting quarterback.
And Mac looked
and
good
I said
too.
that a while ago.
Mac looked good too.
Yeah.
It's just sad. Texans fans should be sad.
And the only reason I bring up those two guys is because with what the market demands right now at the quarterback position, it's like if Stroud is a good year, they're probably going to have to pay him $50 million a year. If you pay him $50 million and you're paying Will Anderson $40 million, okay, you're losing maybe a Petrie or Shair.
I think he's going to get paid $55 million.
You're losing a lot of those guys on the back end.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's just how it is. And that's why I said I'd let CJ walk.
And so it's like if you have the opportunity of CJ Stroud and Malik Willis, I think their level of play, and we didn't get to see a full season from Willis, but it's like, I think Malik Willis probably this season in the moments and the opportunities that he had, I think he probably looked a little better than CJ Stroud did. And you also get that versatility of him using his legs. I just feel like that's an interesting option if you are the Houston Texans. Now, obviously, you can't make that decision right now. You're only 3 years in with Stroud. This is a big what if. I'm putting it on the record right now. I still believe in CJ Stroud. He's going to turn it around. This is the ultimate devastator, if that's even a word. But man, tough one for the Houston Texans. Rams Bears was interesting. It felt like the Rams were going to kind of run away with it. They'd scored early with Kyren. The Bears couldn't really get much going. It was just a bad body language game from Caleb again, kind of in the first half. And you're like, are they going to figure it out? Then all of a sudden, he just pulls the rabbit out of his hat, and you're looking at an overtime game that the Rams might lose.
Yeah, no, the Iceman shows up on that last play. I can't believe that DB let that up to Loveland.
And he tried to act like he got pushed too.
Yeah,
it's like, no, you didn't.
He was like a push, and it's like, dude, we got 4K Blu-ray on you. Like,
no, you didn't,
we're just. It's like he went, like when Caleb Williams was going back, he was moving up. And I'm like, the guy's behind you. What are you doing?
Yeah,
like, the guy is behind you. I want to shout out the Bears defense. I thought the Bears defense played well enough to win this game. Only holding the Rams to 17 points in regulation, that should win you every game. That should win you almost every, like 9 times
Especially
out of 10.
against that offense.
Especially against that offense in that Rams. If you told the Bears fan, listen, you're going to hold this team to 17 points in regulation, you'd be like, we won this game.
Yeah.
We won this game, absolutely. Ben Johnson and those fourth downs, man. I mean, early, kick the field goals. I get it. It's your MO to go for it, but you're in the beginning of the game, 3 points. And then he throws an interception. This was like the first drive. You know what I mean? He throws an interception. Then later on in the game, you go for another fourth down instead of kicking it. And in my head, I'm like, dude, just take the points. Just take the points. The Rams, I'm going to talk about it a little bit more, dive in when we talk about Seattle versus them. They look a little slow, if that makes sense. They look a little slow. I'll dive in a little bit more. But the overtime comes up. Caleb Williams, the Rams get the ball first. They go 3 and out, kick it to the Bears.
After running the ball 3 straight times, which I thought was absolutely pathetic.
Let's dive into that because I was going to get to it. You have a league MVP, Caden.
Yep.
Season's on the line. You don't give him a chance.
2 all-pro receivers.
Running the ball in first down, I think it was a gain of 6. Great run. 2nd and 4, you got to throw it. Gain of 2 yards. 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 1. I'm like, are they going to give Matthew Stafford a chance? They run it again, no yards, punt it back. I'm like, if this game, like, I will call out the coaching decision on that. But now, unless he's hurt. If Matthew Stafford's like under the table hurt, but he wasn't because on the next drive, he was throwing the ball. To not give your MVP a chance. And Caleb Williams drives down to the 50-yard line. He gets a first down. He rushes for 1. He gets up. He brushes his shoulders off. He's feeling the moment. I thought it was over. I thought he was aura farming. Yep. I thought he's going to get 1 more first down or 2 more first downs. And then he throws an interception. Moore is loafing on a route. And then the Rams drive down, get the game winner. Close game, cardiac game. Bears fans, I saw all the clips of the Bears fans like they were recording themselves in the game. It was so loud in that game on that touchdown with Loveland. Can't imagine. So loud. And then when they kicked the field goal, I mean, what was it, a 20-yard field goal or something like that? It was a chip shot, you know what I mean? And then once, heartbreaking. The Bears, kind of like the San Francisco 49ers in a way of like, with the San Francisco 49ers, with all those injuries, I didn't expect much. The Bears going into this year, I thought they were going to be last in the division. I thought the Lions or the Packers are going to win it. I thought J.J. McTrashbags was going to take a huge step and be competitive in that division. The Bears won that division. I get it. You don't want to look at the glass half empty / half full. You could sit there and say, okay, we're moving in the right direction. But you could also sit there and say, like, dude, we were 2 plays away from playing for the NFC Championship.
And you got to just, taper your expectations. Like at the beginning of the year, you were like, hey, if we win more than 8 games, I think it's a successful season. If Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson can just show that, like, hey, we're the franchise guys, then it's a successful season. And to say that they prove that and then some would be an understatement, in my opinion. Like, Griff, they were, to your point, like a play away. If Caleb Williams doesn't throw that to DJ Moore and they both kind of have that, I don't know who to blame it on. But if they both,
it was like a bad throw and a bad route.
It was just really dumb to watch. If you don't have that, you're making it to the NFC Championship, and you were the 2 seed this year in what was, coming into this year, the toughest division in football, with the Lions winning 15 games, Vikings winning 14, Packers winning 11 all last year. That was a tough division. And the fact that they won it, got the 2 seed, won a playoff game, had that crazy comeback against Green Bay. You beat Green Bay. I think that's in itself is like a huge win. You didn't get blown out in this game. Like, you looked really good and had a shot at the end. And I understand Caleb had 3 picks. I just don't think that tells the whole story. although it sucks to lose, your expectations at the beginning of the year,
so low.
They vastly changed as the season went along. You've got to feel great about the direction that this team is going in. And so ultimately, I feel great for Chicago. I hated the play calling, and then they come out for the Rams. I hated the play calling. They come out on that second drive in overtime, run the football again, doesn't go for anything. And I look over at my roommate, I was like, what are they doing, bro?
I thought Matthew Stafford was hurt. I was like,
what are they doing?
Why?
And you see that all 22 angle that comes out on Twitter of him like throwing it from the right hash all the way to the left to Devontae, like a no looker. And I was like, this guy's just filthy. I was like, can you please just let him throw the football and let him win you the game? Like,
even if he loses, like you put it in the MVP's hands.
You live by the sword, die by the sword. He didn't turn the football over. Like he had a pretty solid game, and I thought the Rams were doing a good job of running the football. But the Bears defense, it's kind of like it's been very timely where they were able to get stops against Green Bay in the second half when they were running the football all over them in the first half. They stop it in the second. Even in this game, I thought the Rams did a good job of running the football in the first half. In the second half, it wasn't as good. I talked about this last week, and I was like, the Chicago Bears, they felt like the Indiana Pacers of last year. And when I watched that Caleb Williams throw on fourth down, I was like, this is Tyrese Halliburton getting that buzzer beater in MSG where it hits the rim, bounces all the way up, goes in, and he's doing the Reggie Miller choke. Like the similarities are astounding between both of those teams, both of those players. Cardiac Bears, cardiac Pacers. I mean, what an unbelievable run for both of those teams. But for the Bears, you're out. Cancun to Cancun you go, but you've got to feel really good sipping on those to
margaritas or something.
What are you drinking?
What are you sipping in Cancun?
What are you sipping on in Cancun? Who knows? I mean, Caleb Williams might be sipping on some matcha in Cancun.
Yeah, you never know.
Big matcha guy. So on to the conference championship round we go. Coaching changes, some controversy, but now there are four. We talked about this beforehand. This feels kind of like a lackluster game in the AFC, and I know it's the first one. It starts at 1:00. I just feel like over the last 5 years, we've gotten like two juggernauts, two Goliaths versus Goliaths matching up, whether it's like Mahomes, Josh Allen, whether it's Mahomes, Lamar, Mahomes, Joe Burrow. Like you're getting the best of the best. And I think we all expected that when the playoffs started. It's like, hey, it's a wide open race. Who knows what the playoff picture is going to look like when it's all said and done. And obviously just such a devastating injury for Bo Nix. But now you're looking at Jared Stidham versus Drake May, and I'm kind of like, ugh, like that doesn't get me up out of bed normally like a Mahomes versus Josh Allen would. Like that would get me going. Or even a Mahomes versus a Josh Allen versus Drake May. But here we are, Stidham, May, 1:00, kick it off.
Stidham versus May, Broncos versus the Patriots. I'll tell you right now to start off, the NFL does not want the Broncos in the Super Bowl. No. Not because they hate you, not because the world is against you. It's all for marketing. They could market the hell out of Drake May. The dynasty's back. The New England Patriots, who would have thought these guys would have been back? Drake May possibly could win still MVP versus they really don't care who comes out, whether it's Seattle or the Rams. They can market both of those teams. They don't want Stidham in there because we talked earlier. If you didn't know, the Patriots against either the Rams or the Seahawks are about 2.5 to 3.5 point dogs, if you didn't know. The Broncos are 8.5 point dogs against the Rams and almost 9.5 point dogs against Seattle. They don't want that. The NFL Super Bowl is the most bet on game the entire year. I get it. You might sit there and be like, oh, who cares about gambling? Who cares about gambling? The NFL cares about gambling because billions of dollars go into that game.
Well, they also want a good game.
And they also want a good game.
And that's what shows it to be a good game.
And that's where you get the action. When on bets, you can get a close game. On those big spreads, you're just like, you're not going to get a lot of action. You're going to get some action. You're going to get action because it's the Super Bowl. But I digress. The Broncos versus the Patriots. Stidham. Everyone's writing off the Broncos. And I'm here to say not so fast. I am gonna pick the Patriots to win this game. I think it's gonna be a lot closer than people think. I think that offensive line, they're gonna run a very, very vanilla offense. They're gonna be running the ball. They're gonna be throwing the ball. Bo Nix snaps the ball and he can make plays with his legs. You know what I mean? He can make plays with his legs, and that benefits the offense for the Broncos. I think they're going to tell Stidham, listen, let's not do that. Let's run the ball. Let's hope our defense gets turnovers, and let's capitalize on Drake May's mistakes. Because if they go out there and say, Stidham, just go out there and balls to the wall and throw it, it's like, okay, we haven't seen Stidham throw an NFL pass regulation in 3 years. I think they're going to be very vanilla offensively. Now, a lot of people are saying that Drake May has had a garbage playoffs, you know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong, the turnovers, but I mean, who has the most touchdown throws out of every quarterback in the playoffs? It's Drake May. And I get it. He had some turnovers against the Chargers. And let's not forget, he played a pretty good defense in the Texans. You know what I mean? He played a pretty good defense in the Texans. And I will give the Patriots credit. There was 3 touchdown drives that he had on that Texans defense where I was like, jaw drop touchdown. That touchdown throw to Booty, that touchdown throw to Diggs. He has the sauce. He has the sauce. But 5.5 point dogs, I believe the Broncos are at home. I'm going to take the 5.5. I think the Patriots win by 3 here. I think the Patriots win this game by 3. It's a lot closer than people think. Denver has the home field advantage, and I feel like the Denver fans are just sitting there hoping like, man, if Stidham can just get one win, just one win. And I'm just here to say like, okay, one win gets you what? An ass whooping in the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
An ass whooping in front of 20 million, or I don't know how many people watch the Super Bowl, but I mean,
a lot
of people watch it. You know what I mean? Millions and millions of people. You're going to get destroyed in the Super Bowl, Broncos. Yeah. You have no shot in the Super Bowl. I would give the Patriots a 35% chance to 40% chance, depending on who they play in the Super Bowl.
I'll be specific.
You know what I mean? 35 to 40% in that game. What are you giving the Broncos? 5%. I'm gonna give the Broncos 5 to 10% chance of beating the Seahawks or the Rams. I'm gonna go with the Patriots here to win by 3. But I think Stidham plays well. But give me the Patriots by 3. That defense of the Patriots, say whatever you want about Herbert sucking, C.J. Stroud sucking. They're getting turnovers. They're getting turnovers. And I'm gonna wrap this up. I know it's a long yap session. That defense for the Broncos, Caden, it's not as hot as it's been. If you really look at it, we talked about it earlier. The Bills don't give up 5 turnovers. How many points are they scoring?
A lot.
45 or 50? I mean, they put up 30 on them. Drake May, I'll tell you now, the Broncos wanted the Texans to win that game. Because they could wreck C.J. Stroud. They could absolutely wreck C.J. Stroud. Don't get me wrong, the Texans defense can wreck Stidham, but I mean, they could win a disgusting low-scoring game. If Drake May goes off and puts up 24 points, I don't see the Broncos putting up more than 24 points. Who do you have in this game?
I'm in agreement with you. I think the Patriots ultimately squeak it out. I think this could get really scary though for New England. I think Denver can really make this close. First of all, they've got the number 1 passing offensive line in all of football. I think that's going to really help Jared Stidham out. In terms of Buffalo, I just think you go up against these special offenses and special quarterbacks, and I think you're going to be able to score points no matter how great the defense is. And so I will give kind of like I'll give them a pass in terms of that Buffalo game. Like Buffalo's so good at running the football. They've got a great offensive line, and then you've got Josh Allen. But in terms of the Patriots, like Drake May's got to be a lot cleaner. He's got to be a lot better. I just looked, 6 fumbles in 2 games and 2 interceptions. Now, he didn't lose every single one of those fumbles. They've got a lot of luck. If you even go back to that Texans game, there were like 2 of them where it's like, man, he's lucky Will Campbell jumped on that football, because 6 fumbles in 2 games and 2 interceptions, man, that is really, really bad. It's got to be a lot cleaner. They obviously understand that, but you can't afford those mistakes on the road. Like this is for real. Like you're on the road against a very good defense with a very good front, a very good secondary. Like the Broncos, I think they have the 2nd or 3rd best defense in the NFL. Like this is a ravaging defense. I would say it's the best defense. Second best defense they've played. Yeah, I almost said first. No, I didn't.
Oh, I thought you were going to say first defense remaining. But what do you say to the Broncos fans who sit there and lie to your face when they say that their defense is as good as the Texans?
It's not. I
think it's laughable.
It is laughable. And that's not to disrespect the Broncos defense. Like the Broncos, I think you can put the Broncos and Seattle's defense on the same tier, in my opinion. Maybe give Seattle a little higher notch. I think they're both like neck and neck, but I think the Texans defense is miles above and beyond. Like I think it's one of the best defenses I've watched in my 21 years of life, and I haven't even watched football in all my 21 years of life. It is genuinely that good, and I feel like Denver's defense is going to have to keep them in this game if they're going to have any shot. You're going to have to slow them down. You can't give them that short. Like Stidham can't turn the football over and give them a short field. Like the Houston defense, although they were giving up touchdowns, they're able to thrive when they don't have that short field, like when they can just go hunt, when they can back a team up to the 20-yard line, 25-yard line. Like Denver's really got to preface slowing down that offense if they're going to have any shot. I'm excited to see what Stidham can do. I think Sean Payton is a great play caller, and I think he will be able to put Jared Stidham in a good situation to try and keep this game pretty close. I don't think they're going to get blown out. I think Denver's defense keeps them in it. I'll take Denver to cover the 5.5, but I'll take New England to win maybe on a game-winning kick, 2 points, 3
Yeah,
points.
I could see a field goal. I could see the Patriots being up by 10 and maybe the Broncos backdoor cover with a late touchdown and the Patriots win by 3. I think this game is going to be very low scoring early. I'm talking about 10-3 halftime score, maybe 10-7 halftime score. And then it's like the Broncos will be like, okay, let's open up the playbook a little bit. You know what I mean? We're here. We only have 30 more minutes. Let's really try to capitalize on this. But yeah, Drake May, you got to hold on to the ball. You got to hold on to the ball. And I honestly think, how many turnovers do you think the Broncos defense has to have for them to win? I'm going to say minimum.
3.
Okay, I was going to say 2, but 3 is
I think you got to get 3.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be there. Honestly, I think the opportunities are going to be there. I think Drake May is a great quarterback. I want to preface this off by saying that he's a great quarterback, but he's been very sloppy with the football. And I think there are going to be opportunities to go hunt. Vance Joseph, the defensive coordinator for the Broncos, he's been in a lot of big moments. He's coached football for a long time. I think that's a huge matchup for this Broncos defense to be like, hey, we've got a young quarterback who's going to play his first ever game on the road in a really tough environment. This is our chance to go force some turnovers, get some big opportunities. I think they're going to be there, and I think they get a few of them.
Any weather updates? I know it's going to be cold.
28 degrees. It's going to be freezing. You are looking at an over-under of 42.5, so it's going to be low scoring.
I think it's going to be low scoring early. Could be some points late,
I don't think this goes over.
Really?
I think you're looking at a game that's like 21-17.
Because crazy enough, if I would have just told you the turnover stats in that Texans-Patriots game, I would have been like, it's the under. You know what I mean? Because
I think you might see Will Lutz kick like 5 field goals.
And that could happen.
I think you're going to see him kick 4 or 5. I could see this being 20-17.
But talking about percentages, what percentages do you give the Patriots in the Super Bowl compared to the Broncos? Like to win it all?
I think the Patriots would have a 25% chance in the Super Bowl against the Seahawks. I think they'd have a 35% chance against the Rams. I think the Broncos would have a 15% chance. I don't want to say 10, 15. I mean, not good. 10 to 15, and not good. It's just, I don't know how realistically they're going to be able to, because the fact that, to your point, like I think you can score the football in Denver. I think good offenses, and I think the Rams offense is genuinely that good. I think they'll be able to stop Seattle a little bit more. It's a tougher matchup against LA, in my opinion, because Stafford could just pick them apart. But I don't know, man. Backup quarterback in the Super Bowl.
Who knows?
We've seen it before.
Yeah, we've seen it before.
Maybe they bring out the Denver special.
Go out there, Stiddy. Go out there and Stiddy and
Stiddy Diddy.
Yeah, Stiddy Diddy. Go out there and win an AFC championship.
Get that Diddy oil. All right, Rams Seahawks 4:30. Seattle 2.5-point favorite. We're looking at an over under of 47.5. 44 degrees in Seattle.
Okay, 44. No rain.
Nope, just clouds. Classic Seattle.
Classic Seattle. It's the night game, right?
Yep.
That stadium is going to be absolutely rocking. Caden, get the boats out. Because Seattle's boat racing this team.
Not.
Seattle is boat racing this team. This is going to be, I'm going to say, on par with the 49ers. I'm going to go out on a limb. I think they beat the brakes off of this Los Angeles Rams team. And I'm going to break it down here. The Rams, to me, Caden, they look like they're running out of gas. They look like they're tired. They look like they're running out of gas. Take the 2 playoff games that they're in. Should they have beat the Panthers? The Panthers were right there. The Panthers could have beat that team. I know you're a Panthers guy. Yeah. Some mistakes, and I get it. Mistakes happen. Okay, you just had a better roster. You had the better quarterback. You had the better roster. Of course, you beat the Panthers. You go to the Bears. Bears are better than the Panthers. They should have lost that game.
Yeah.
They and it wasn't like, I mean, Caleb Williams was 20 yards away in overtime. They were 20 yards away from overtime. They look like they're tired. In both of those games, they start off hot. In the Panthers game, they went up 14-0. They took a hiatus between the second and third quarter. In the Bears game, they went down, scored a touchdown, went up 7-0. They took another hiatus between the second and third quarter. I don't know what it is about this offense. It's just they either don't want Matthew Stafford to cook, which I don't. Dude, right now you're in the end of the season. Unless Matthew Stafford's hurt, unless it comes out that he's hurt, I'm letting him cook. Even if he throws 5 interceptions, I'm going down with the ship. I am letting him decide my fate of my season. In that overtime, not giving him the ball on those first 3 plays was egregious. It was absolutely egregious. It's not just the playoff games. Dip into the regular season, the end of the regular season. That Cardinals game in the fourth quarter, they were down like 20-16 late in the fourth quarter. Don't get me wrong, the Rams turned it on in the fourth quarter, ended up winning that game. The game before that, they lose to the Falcons. That was a bad look. The week before that, they lost that nail biter, kind of blew that game against Seattle. To me, it just looks like the Rams are running out of gas. And to ask a team in the Los Angeles Rams, who are extremely talented, great wide receivers, MVP caliber quarterback. The defense has been up and down. The
Yeah,
defense has really been hit and miss. To ask them to go 3 weeks in a row, I think they're running on fumes. 3 weeks in a row on the road. Now you got to go to Seattle. Seattle's defense is hellacious. If they play, they have to play better than they did against the Panthers and better than they did against the Bears, in my opinion, offensively for the Rams, or they're cooked. Now, I will say, if Sam Darnold turns the ball over, anything could happen. Anything could happen. And maybe this is the game where Sam Darnold turns the ball over, but I feel like someone got in his head, just like someone should have gotten in CJ Stroud's head. Listen, Sam Darnold, don't turn the ball over. We're just gonna go down there. If we kick the field goal, we kick the field goal. We're going to let this defense give us the ball back. We're gonna let our defense. We're gonna play the field position, because Sam Darnold really, realistically, hasn't had a lot of chances to turn the ball over, but he hasn't turned the ball over. I think it was Tom Brady doing the comms, and he was like, "I don't see a team who can beat Seattle unless Sam Darnold turns the ball over." And I agree with him. If Sam Darnold has no turnovers on Sunday night, they will play in the Super Bowl.
I agree.
They will 100% play in the Super Bowl. Like I said, I just think the Rams are running out of fumes, or they're running on fumes. They're running out of gas. I don't know. I just have this weird feeling that Seattle, they probably sat everyone in the second half realistically, definitely in the fourth quarter. I mean, the Rams
turned the game off.
I mean, the Rams gut-wrenching minute by minute have to beat the Panthers last second. The next game, you got to go into Chicago. You play extra football. You play extra football in overtime. To ask them to go play Seattle here, I just think they're going to run out of gas. Give me Seattle, and I think they win by more than 2 touchdowns.
We've talked about the salacious defense. We've talked about how good they are. Matthew Stafford had 450 yards the last time they played. 3 touchdowns. They ran the ball for 124 yards. The Rams, this is what they do. They play down to their competition and they play up to their competition. If there's one thing that I've known about this Rams team, especially over the last few years in the Stafford-McVay era, they've had like these little lapses where they'll lose games or they'll look a little scary and they kind of got to pull it out at the very end. But then when they play the great teams, they always rise to their level of play. And I think that's what we're going to see Sunday. I think the Rams win this football game. I think they get back to the Super Bowl, and I think they win the Super Bowl. I said this from the beginning of the year. I said that the Rams would make the Super Bowl. And of course, now that the Chiefs are out, they're going to win the Super Bowl. And this is our Super Bowl right here. The NFC Championship is our Super Bowl. And I liked your point about the Sam Darnold turnovers. I think if Sam Darnold does not turn the football over, Seattle will win the game. But the Super Bowl recipe doesn't work against the Rams. And we've seen that twice this year. He had 4 turnovers in their first time playing. They lost that game. He had 2 turnovers, and it had to take 16 points in the fourth quarter in a ridiculous fashion for them to win the game. And I honestly thought the Rams, going back to that game, got a little vanilla in the fourth quarter, and they didn't fully go for the jugular like they should have. I think the Rams are going to be the more experienced team. They've been in this moment. Sean McVay is 1-1 against Mike McDonald. He's a tremendous head coach, but Sean McVay has more postseason experience. Sam Darnold is a guy that I don't think you can lean on in the big moments like you can with Matthew Stafford. That's the difference. Matthew Stafford has been there in the big moments. He's won the Super Bowl. He's got 2 all-pro receivers. Puka Nacua, how many yards did he have? 225 and 2 touchdowns last time they played Seattle. I understand that's a great defense, but sometimes you have great offenses that can exploit great defenses, and I think that's what we're going to see this weekend. Everybody's all over Seattle. The Rams have looked like they can be beatable the last 2 weeks, and even into the regular season, to your point with the Cardinals. Forgot who they played before that.
Falcons.
Then it was, Falcons. Then it was Seattle. It's like you can see maybe that there's a little bit of burnout, but I think this is the Rams team that shows you that. They have this lapse, then they bounce back in a massive way. I think they win the Super Bowl. I think you get a vintage Matthew Stafford game this weekend where it's like he didn't throw the ball that much, and they didn't ask him to really throw it that much, I guess, in overtime until they really needed him to. You're going to need Matthew Stafford to throw the football, in my opinion, 40, 50 times. He threw the ball 49 times in their Thursday night football game. You're going to need that this weekend. I think the Rams get it done. I think their defense steps it up. Also, final note here, they didn't have Kevin Dotson over the last 5 weeks, their right guard, and forget who was on the call on that game. I believe it was the NBC crew, Tirico and Collinsworth. They were talking about how big it was for the Rams to run the football with the right guard Kevin Dotson back, who's come back. He's going to be huge for this offensive line. They did not have him the last 5 weeks. I think this Rams offense has an absolute explosion. They get back to the Super Bowl. You've got Seahawks, Patriots. I've got Rams, Patriots.
I got Seahawks versus the Patriots. I also think the Rams, at the end of the season, you always look back into the regular season, you're like, what game cost us? I think that Seahawks game obviously cost them. Not getting the 1 seed, in my opinion, is going to be so huge because Seattle got the bye. They didn't have to get beat up against the Panthers. You know what I mean? The Rams had to go on the road and play the Panthers. That week bye, I think, really shows up in this game. Close game. Yeah. All those games are close.
I hope it's not the boats out like you think.
Oh, I think the boats will get out.
I
think the boats will get out because like I said, I just think the Rams are going to run out of gas. The two previous games were razor close. Yeah. I mean, like you said, Darnold, he had 15 interceptions in LA, and they were a 60-yard field goal from winning the game.
It was a tsunami, as I called it.
Yeah, it was absolutely insane. Where that game is going to, I'm glad that that's the night game. I'm so glad that is the night game because I agree. If you didn't know, the Seattle Seahawks are Super Bowl favorites right now, followed by the Rams, followed by the Patriots, and followed by the Denver Broncos. And I feel like that's exactly where it should be. You know what I mean? The Seahawks are at home. I mean, hell, if you think the Rams are going to win the bowl, bet them. Don't bet them to beat Seattle. Bet them to win the Super Bowl, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Because if they win this game, same thing with Seattle. Seattle, I believe, is like a minus 155 right now.
Are they?
Yeah, they're
to win the Super Bowl.
To win the Super.
What?
No, my bad. They're 155 to beat the Rams this weekend.
Gotcha.
So they're favored to beat the Rams this weekend, but I believe they're plus 150 or 145 to win the Super Bowl. So in my opinion, don't bet them to beat the Rams. Bet them to win the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And a little cheeky extra. If you think the Rams are going to win this week and you think they're going to win next week, don't bet them to win this week. Don't bet them to win the Super Bowl. Bet Matthew Stafford to win Super Bowl MVP. You know what I mean? I know we're deep. We're diving into the odds because I believe the Rams are like plus 2 something to win the Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford might be plus 300 plus to win that thing. Now I get it. When the Rams got to the Super Bowl, who won the Super Bowl MVP that year? Cooper Kupp. And who plays for Cooper? Who does Cooper Kupp play for?
Seahawks.
So the Seahawks. Cooper Kupp can make some magic.
I'm pulling up some MVP odds.
Pull up some MVP odds.
I just think it's fun. Darnold plus 250.
Okay, so he's the favorite.
Stafford plus 290. Drake May.
Matthew Stafford's plus 290. Okay.
Yeah. Drake May plus 310. Then you have JSN at plus 1400. So a huge jump. Puka plus 1700. Kenneth Walker plus 1,700. That was the one I was going to bring up to you. I think Kenneth Walker could be an interesting one.
Or Stidham.
Stiddy Diddy?
Yeah.
Plus 1,900. Stiddy Diddy, he's not winning it. And then you go to Devontae at plus 4,500. But I think, honestly, Kenneth Walker's kind of interesting. Plus 1,700. Like,
that's not bad.
He had 3 rushing touchdowns last week. And let's say you're going up against the Patriots. Like, I think you go to that Super Bowl recipe that I've been talking about for like months now, where it's like, run the football with K9. Charbonnet has been notorious for stealing his touchdowns. If you get Kenneth Walker to score 2 touchdowns,
great value
I think Kenneth Walker could be a really interesting one. Also, let's say they're going up against the Patriots or the Broncos. Pat Surtain or Christian Gonzalez, great matchup. They're not going to let JSN beat them. I think it's going to be a potentially Kenneth Walker. It's going to be a Kenneth Walker game. In my opinion.
I'm gonna place that here after the show because, like you said, if that game, the 49ers game ends, they're going to give, what did he finish his stat line? 3 touchdowns and what?
Yeah, I mean, just an unbelievable. I'm gonna pull it up.
Yeah, because I mean, they're going to give it to Walker in that point because the recipe for the Seahawks to win the Super Bowl. Now, don't get me wrong, Sam Darnold goes out there and throws 3 touchdowns. They're going to give it to him, but I mean, they're going to run the football. And
he had 19 carries, 116 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, they would have given it to him for sure if the game ended.
And Darnold threw the ball 17 times and only had 12 completions.
Now you will have
41-6.
And now you will have to hope that no one on the defense gets like a pick 6 or like 2 interceptions, one of them being a pick 6. Because I do think if Seattle wins, they win in that way. They win in the way of they're just going to run down your throat and the defense is going to thrive. But I got Patriots, Seattle, and you have Rams, Patriots, right?
Yep.
What
Rams,
if
Patriots.
to end this off? What if the Patriots sneak a win? What if the Patriots sneak a Super Bowl right here? It'd be insane. Not because they're dog water, not because of this. It's just insane to think that, like, okay, in an era where Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Matthew Stafford, Jalen Hurts coming off that Super Bowl win, all those guys, and then Drake, whatever the hell you call him, sneaks a Super Bowl. Because at the end of the day, you sneak a Super Bowl win, no one cares. Yeah. No one's now. You might sit there and say, "Oh, you played Herbert, you played CJ Stroud, you played Stidham, and then you played Sam Darnold. That's a fake ring. That ring still blings.
Yeah,
they're gonna still have the parade. Yeah. They're gonna still hoist the Lombardi. Crazy, and that's why I think the NFL really wants the Patriots.
Well, you made a good point before the show where you were like, the Patriots fans are going to be so insufferable even if they make the Super Bowl because you're going to be like, we got more appearances than Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, Drake May does. It's like, they're going to be insufferable. And it's like...
And they're still in a rebuild. They have a lot of money. They have
Young,
money. They have
youthful
money.
players.
They're young. Drake May is still 3 or 4 years going to be on that contract. I'll tell you right now, he wins the Super Bowl this year. They're going to sign that dude for buco bucks.
Yeah.
I'm talking about $70 million.
Dude, he doesn't even have that good of a receiving. Like, I don't want to be like a Debbie Downer here, but it's like Diggs is a solid player, but it's like, bro, you give this guy like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, like, oh my goodness, Valentine.
No, absolutely to the moon.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel, Tennessee Titans, you're a garbage organization for firing Mike Vrabel. Can't believe you did that. Side note at the end, Robert Saleh, I wish you didn't go to that bum organization. I kind of wanted you in Baltimore.
I wanted him to stay with San Fran.
I wanted him in Baltimore or Pittsburgh just because like I feel like he would have had a little bit more, what's it called? Insurance to stay or like reassurance to stay. Like I think Baltimore or Pittsburgh were going to give him multiple years. I think Tennessee after 2 years, if they're dog water, they're going to kick Saleh to the curb. That too.
Buffalo. I mean, you got that was kind of like the big thing.
I'm a Saleh guy. I like Saleh.
I love Robert Saleh. I thought he had an awesome year. That was the thing where it was like I felt like he didn't get a fair opportunity in New York because they didn't have a quarterback. So you've got, and I know you went to Cam Ward, but you got Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, the last two MVPs. Like I like Cam Ward, but
yeah, and right now, like we talk about coaching and like who other than Saleh, in my opinion, like who's out there?
I mean, I don't know.
You're gonna get
like genuinely.
like Cliff Kingsbury is like rumored out there.
They're talking about like Clint Kubiak, like the 49ers offensive coordinator. Like I don't know. Like you're taking a big swing. You're taking a big risk. Yeah, on quarterbacks that are trying to win Super Bowls right now. Like this window's not open. You're also not only in the fortunate position of like a Drake May or like a Jaden Daniels or a Caleb Williams, where you're still on that rookie contract. No, Josh Allen's making that money. Lamar Jackson, I believe $70 million cap hit next year. These guys are making money. You got to win now. And I think a lot of people wanted Zach Taylor fired. I didn't want him fired, but a lot of people wanted Zach Taylor, the Bengals head coach, fired with Joe Burrow. It's like, if they don't win next year, that might be an opening as well.
No, you have to capitalize on this opportunity while you can, because coaching nowadays, I mean, the Rams and Ravens, they were there for 15 years.
Yeah.
15 years. Now it's like, dude, you have one bad season, you're gone.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's doable. It's doable. But as we wrap this up, if you've made it this far, we appreciate you. We appreciate the support. Give this video a like you said, if you made it this far. Subscribe, help out the show. We vastly appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Griff, unbelievable episode. We've got some unbelievable football. Let's enjoy it. We'll see you next week, my man.
For sure.
See you.